Anna Morgan versus Jody Barrera.
Hi, Your Honor, Abigail Pinions for Ms. Barrera.
Danny Matlock, supervising judge.
Okay. You can sit right there, ma'am.
So we would like to make a motion to dismiss based off of acceptance of payment.
Okay.
On the 20th, Ms. Barrera deposited $5,280 into the account in which Ms. Morgan accepts the rent. And then on,
Tell me the 20th of what?
the March of this month.
Okay.
So that was directly before court. Judge Buckner did tell Ms. Morgan on record that she would have to return that. Otherwise it would be acceptance and then waiver. And then I do have a document that Ms. Morgan sent me, confirming that this amount has been taken off of Ms. Barrera's remaining balance.
Okay. So you're dismissing this.
No, I'm not.
You can't do both, ma'am.
First of all, she didn't pay enough.
It doesn't matter. You accepted the money.
No, I didn't. She deposited it into the account.
Okay.
She didn't bring it to me.
Did you return the money to her?
No.
Then you have accepted the rent as Judge Buckner told you. It's not, I'm going to take it off the balance.
She said,
Please don't interrupt me, ma'am. She said, give it back. You didn't give it back. This is dismissed. Again, if you're going to act like a landlord and file legal documents, you need to either do it correctly or hire an attorney to do it for you.
That's all I have.
Dismissed.
That's all I have before you, Judge. May I be excused?
Okay. Go.
You hand me my screen box. Now go.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Miss Griffin, which one's Miss Griffin?
yes, right.
Okay, I'm gonna have you, have a seat over here. And, is the individual that is here with you, are they going to be testifying today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I'm gonna have you have a seat out in the lobby, please, okay? And, counsel, you indicated you're the property manager present, what is, the spelling of her name, please?
Dorian, Dorian, Montgomery, Montgomery.
Okay, nice to see you in person, I usually just see you on Zoom.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm sorry, counsel, your appearance again for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. For case P78292, standing in for counsel of record, representing Polk Police Departments in this matter.
All right, thank you. And then, ma'am, your name, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Stacia Rickman.
I'm sorry, and you're what?
I'm representing myself today.
Okay, so we're recording remotely, so I'm just gonna need you to keep up your volume,
Okay,
okay?
I'm sorry.
All right, it's good to see you in person. I think you're typically on Zoom also.
Yes.
And so Ms. Griffin and Ms. Montgomery, I'm going to have you each please raise your right hands. All right, and so, counsel, and you may both have a seat, thank you. For purposes of the trial today, what is the issue?
Your Honor, this is a complaint that was initially filed for non-payment of rent. The plaintiff's position that there's $2,995.75 in back rent. There are court costs and fees of $219.80 in court costs and fees, and for a total of $3,215.55 due and owing to the plaintiff.
Ms. Griffin,
Yes.
do you agree with the amount that's owed in back rent?
That amount is correct, but I don't know.
Are there reasons why you think that you should not have to pay that entire amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so, all right, and so counsel, you and Ms. Griffin had a conversation in the hallway or in the lobby or somewhere, correct?
Correct.
All right, and so Ms. Griffin, what is the reason why you believe you should not have, well, what is the amount you believe you should pay?
Honestly, the amount I think I should have to pay is like just the amount for the actual rent and not the late fees. And I was here today to explain why I feel like that should be credited. It's going to be a long process of taking a little bit, and I'm sorry, but
Okay.
I have a lot to explain.
Okay, well, let me, first, just so you know that, when you're addressing the court, you should stand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
No, that's okay. And so what are the reasons why you don't think you should have to pay court costs or court costs. Are you saying court costs or late fees?
Late fees, not necessarily.
Or late fees, okay. How much of the back rent is late fees?
I would say the late fees go back starting from January, so.
January?
Yes.
Okay,
Every $150 each month in late fees.
$150 in late fees?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so that's going back all the way to January of 23?
2024.
2024,
Yes.
so January, February, and March, so 3 months of late fees.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're talking about $450 in late fees, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so why do you believe you should not have to pay the late fees?
So the reason I believe I shouldn't have to pay the late fees is because we were previously in court on December 15th for, like the same type of situation as far as rent, and we both agreed to waive the late fees of $450 for the last court date, and so I ended up paying $3,300. I believe it was by the 28th of December,
Okay.
not the 1st of January.
Okay, hold on, just one moment. So there was another matter in December.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We had another Zoom.
All right, that was a different case number, correct?
Yes.
All right, counsel, do you have that case number?
I do, Your Honor. It is 2302261 LT.
Okay, there's only 1 0?
Yes, there's only 1 0.
Okay. Okay, so let me see about pulling that one out. Okay, so consent order for conditional dismissal was entered. And that was for a total of $3,364.18. All right, $3,364.18, and that was through December 30th, and that was to be paid by December 29th.
Correct.
And you're stating that the entire late fee, the entirety of the late fees were waived.
Yes, they were waived, but that's what I was trying to explain more in depth. So basically when I went to go pay the balance that I owed on December 29th, I went to their second location, I believe it's called the Park Apartments. And when I went to go pay, me and the other leasing agent lady, we were speaking, and she said that with me paying that credit would go off of my account, by the first, so that my balance would be clear.
So how much did you end up paying?
I paid $3,300 and I believe $63 or $64.
Okay, so you paid that entire amount?
I paid the full amount, yes.
Okay.
And the issue came in because paying the first of the month, as you can see, I have a picture of, it says, January 4th, my balance on there was $15.24.17. And like I said, that was supposed to be, it was agreement we had supposed to have been cleared out. So that affected me in January because my rent is originally $1,075 a month. And after paying the $3,300 and I believe $64, they didn't clear out that $450 credit. They left it on my account still, which I can show. I have this proof right here.
Okay, so let me just ask this question.
Yes.
So, Ms. Montgomery, do you have anything in there regarding the late fee waiver on that?
On court cases, Your Honor?
On the 2302261 matter?
So we discussed that in the breakout room. I asked Ms. Griffin, she had explained the issues she was having in her apartment. I asked her what she was looking for as a credit. She said, I would like to get some of my late fees waived. I said, okay, how about I waive 3 months of your late fees, $450 total. And she said, okay. She had mentioned her window. She had mentioned some other items that were still outstanding with work orders in her apartment. And so I asked her what she would like, which is why I asked all residents, what are you looking for? It's not that we would get specifically what they're asking for, but we want to know what they're looking for.
Okay, I'm sorry, just to clarify, this is regarding the matter from December?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, and so there was a discussion regarding waiver of the late fees and
we agreed to go ahead and waive the $450 of her late fees.
okay.
So that has to be done in my home office. It's not something we can do on site. So I have to submit a form with the home office and then they credit the account. So it's not something we can guarantee on site as to the day it's being done because we don't do it on site. If I did it myself, I could have done the same day.
Okay, so were the $450 in late fees credited to Miss Griffin's account?
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When were the late fees credited to her account?
January 15th, I believe. Okay, January 15th is when it was credited.
Okay. And so do you have that information, Miss Griffin?
Yes, and that's what I was coming to speak to you about. So the issue with that was, I had previously called on January 1st and asked, like, would the, credit be off my account? And this is the reason why I asked. There's an app called Flex that you use. It allows you to pay half your money in the beginning of the month, and then the other half at the end. I had just, paid $3,300, so I really could only afford to do half. So I called and asked, like, hey, would this be off before the deadline on Flex so that I can pay the rent, half the portion, so that I wouldn't have this issue again. And, she said, yeah, and then I called back like the third or fourth, and I can't remember exactly what she said. I just remember it wasn't credited. They didn't take it off my account until January 15th, and I can tell you why they took it off my account. I called Peak Management, and I left a review on Peak Management, and I can pull that up. It's right here. And it says, this is Exhibit B. It says, attached below is a review I left on Peak Management website. I also called them and told them I felt like I'm being poorly treated due to something I had no control over. And to explain more in depth, I'm speaking of the whole situation in general as far as with Amir Boykins and him breaking my window, him breaking the door. Like, it was a lot of things that had been broken in my property that he broke before he went to jail.
That's why all this is familiar.
Yes, so that's where all this stems from. And my issue is, so like I said, he broke my window, he broke my door, he pushed me through the wall in my kitchen, so it was like a hole in I had all the pictures and everything. None of this stuff got repaired until just this past Saturday. I stayed my whole leasing term with no window, freezing cold.
How long have you not had a window?
I went without a window from June 22nd to January 16th.
Okay.
The whole winter.
Is that how long it took to replace the window?
That's what I was told.
Ms. Montgomery?
No, we had an issue, which I've been very honest and upfront with Ms. Griffin the whole time this is going on. We were having an issue with the contractor. Unfortunately, we kept asking him to come out, he kept saying he was gonna come out and get it.
Sometimes the papers get too close.
I'm sorry.
Not your fault, not your fault.
So he had stated he was gonna come out. It wasn't just her window, there was a number of windows that he needed to get done. So we had an issue with the contractor. I let her know that multiple times throughout it. I also tried to procure another contractor, or other contractors, I should say, when I was having a hard time finding any that would come to the city of Riverview, unfortunately, because of the distance of where they're located. So we ended up having to get a window and install it in-house. I had to borrow a maintenance technician from another site because we have been severely understaffed to help get the window installed in January, just because I wanted to try to get it done because I wasn't able to find anyone to do it.
Okay, and so, it sounds, so what I'm hearing is that Ms. Griffin's acknowledging she owes the back rent of $2,295.75. She's also agreeing that she owes the court costs. Her concern is the $450 in late fees. And I understand, counsel, that on the 23 matter, that there was a waiver of late fees of $450, but there appears to be additional issues that have occurred or that have been occurring over a longer length of time that perhaps may have resulted in more than late fees being waived. So I'm wondering if there's room for there to be additional discussion regarding the balance of the $450 in late fees. That seems to be what we're having a hearing about, correct?
That would be what's better to do your honor, yeah.
I mean, somebody to go 7-8 months without a window, that's concerning. And I understand that I'm not suggesting that your client's company wasn't taking the stuff they needed to take, and they had issues with the contractor. I'm not suggesting that at all. But it appears though there would be able to be a resolution of the late fees. First, I'll state this. I think this court's opinion, and I've said this to other property owners or property management owners or what have you, $150 in late fees is pretty exorbitant. That's pretty high. So that's the first concern. So there was an issue with your window. What other issues were there, ma'am?
Okay, yes. So, like I said, there was an issue with the window. When they did, so like I told you, I made that review January 15th. And I did say I was gonna get a lawyer. So at that point, I was frustrated. We've been freezing cold all winter. My baby, I had pictures and proof. I had to open my stove. I had to run the dryer. This is how my kid was warm all winter. She's sleeping with layers on. She has on a hat. She has on her onesie. She has on extra socks. She has on another outfit.
Did you buy any space heaters?
Yes, I also did have a
portable
space
heaters. Okay.
It's just like, and then I can show you even with the thermostat. The heat is on 82. This is all the same day. So I'm running the dryer. I have the stove open. I have the heat as far as I can go. And
Who pays the heat bill?
Me. That's another thing. So another thing I was getting to, my DT bill has been $200+ because of me having to do these things every day to keep me and my child warm, which is also inconvenience. If I had a window, I wouldn't have to go through these things to, this is raising my bill for the last 6-7 months because I had no window. And other things that I had an issue with were also, I have an electric issue in my kitchen. So with the dining room and the kitchen, like when you turn the dining room light, the light's supposed to come on. No, you have to turn on both kitchen light and the dining room light for the lights to come on. So that also raises the BTE bill because I have to flick both switches to turn just the dining room on instead of.
Did you put in a work order regarding that effect?
As far as that, the maintenance man I talked to him about that plenty of times, like in the very beginning when I first moved there, and the only thing he told me was that's the electrical wire issue that they did wrong when they were doing
okay, but they can't do anything about it if they don't have some written communication. I understand that you're communicating with the maintenance person, but the maintenance person may not be an electrician. Okay. And the property owner can't do anything about it unless they have something in writing from the tenant, because you can tell the maintenance person, but that doesn't mean the maintenance person's telling who has to dispatch the worker.
Yes. And okay. I have another thing too. So in November, my hot water had went out, and I did call and let that be known I didn't have any hot water. So mind you, didn't have window too. There's no hot water, no window. It's freezing cold. It's winter time. So me and my daughter, we spent most of our days at my mother's house, and that's why she's here to testify. Like we had to stay there to take showers there. I didn't get my hot water fixed until 2 weeks later when my mom seen, I don't know if it was a maintenance man or just a water guy in general, she seen someone downstairs working on something, and she told them, my daughter has an 8-month-old baby. They already don't have a window. They're in the freezer. They haven't had hot water in 2 weeks. And the man went and fixed that issue instantly. And I feel like that issue didn't get fixed out of spite. I only say that because when we previously went to court December 15th, the very next day, December 16th, the maintenance man came knocking on my door. He said he was here to fix my hot water. I said my hot water got fixed a month ago. I said, well, my mother seen one of you guys downstairs and had her come fix it. So it was like, the only reason they were coming to fix my hot water now was because I had went to court, I feel like, and brought up the issue with my window. And they tried to leave me without hot water, me and my daughter, in the wintertime. As if, and then another issue I had was when we were talking about the window over the Zoom call. We were talking about the window, and she said, that's what made me bring it up. She said that she had other real problems going on, like that the mates had to get to first. When me not having a window with a newborn kid is definitely a real problem because that's my bedroom. The window is broken in the room we sleep in. On top of you saying that someone had water issues, I also had a water issue that you guys didn't come to fix out 2 months later. Not even knowing my mom had someone fix it already. So it's just like a lot of things I feel like were being done out of spite towards me, and I feel like that's because my mom and Dorian did have a conversation over the phone. She didn't know it was my mom, but it got a little heated, and after that it's like they just stopped fixing stuff, everything just went left. And I did try to talk to you last time. I was trying to, but it just didn't go right. That's why I just waited. Like I'm gonna get a chance eventually to talk to you, explain everything that's going on.
Okay, and so those exhibits, did you give copies to Mr. Cates?
Mr. Cates?
Yes.
No, I can give him my copy.
Do you have copies of? Do you only have one copy of everything, or is it?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't. No.
That's okay. If you can give a copy of that to Mr. Cates. And so, Ms. Griffin, when is the last time that you paid rent?
Last time I paid rent was when I paid $3,300, $3,362.
Okay, so you haven't paid January?
No, and that was because, remember what I was saying, when they took the credit off, it was right after I mentioned the whole getting a lawyer that's when they came fix my windows. But when she took the credit off, she still applied the late fee credit for another $150.
So my question is this, your rent is $1,075 per month, correct?
Yes.
So do you have that money set aside in a separate account?
Yes, ma'am, I have the money.
Okay,
I do have the money.
did you communicate any of that to, Ms. Montgomery or anybody else?
I actually have that as well, yes, and we were just talking about, I have the conversation as well. That should probably be the last page, I believe, E. We were talking, she sent me an email asking when would I be able to pay the rent, and I responded and I said, I'm honestly not sure. I told her that her adding that $150 late fee on there for January, knowing that it wasn't my fault, the credit wasn't cleared on time, put me behind again because like I was telling you, it didn't clear the credit out. But when she did clear the credit out, she added another late fee.
Okay, but did you let Ms. Montgomery know that you had the money set aside in a separate account, but you were disputing certain things, and so that's why you hadn't paid the rent?
No, I didn't
Okay.
specify like that. No.
Okay, that was my question, which I wasn't clear on how that came out.
Sorry, no, I didn't.
So you have the January, February, and March rent.
Correct. I do have it.
In an account.
Yes, ma'am.
$3,225.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so, counsel, did you have a chance to look at those documents?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
been looking at it.
If I could.
I'm sorry?
We briefly were showing these documents out in the lobby beforehand, so I.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Chance to do that.
Okay, and what else, ma'am?
I just wanted to show you the documents.
Oh, no, I'm gonna get them next.
Okay.
Yes, but before I can look at them, the other side has to see them.
Can I just talk a little more? And then just to further add on, it's just been a lot of different things. Like not just that. So as far as like I told you, I have to run the dryer and to keep the stove open to warm the house up. And so
You still have to do that?
Yeah, that's January 16th. That's what I have.
I know, but right now we're March 25th, so do you still have to do that right now?
Yes, I've still been doing that. The management just came and fixed that hole in the window Saturday.
Oh, that's
just
right,
came and fixed it. Yes, I've still been doing. I have messaged my brother saying it's freezing cold. Make sure you tell the judge when I was going away with my friends for 2 days. He texted me saying how my apartment was freezing cold, and so it's like it's not just the me thing. I have proof of other people saying it's cold, it's freezing. I have to stay at my mom's house most of the time, and not just that, because it was so cold during the winter, my child kept getting sick. So this caused me to have to miss work and stay at my mom's house, and it just was a lot that I went through. It was really a lot.
Okay. First, let's talk about the repairs. So Ms. Griffin is specifying under oath that she has 3 months set aside for rent, but that what I'm hearing is that she didn't pay it because she still had quite a few issues that had not yet been addressed. Specifically, the window, which I believe Ms. Montgomery acknowledged that did take an exceptionally longer time to fix because of contractor issues. There are plenty of companies downriver area that could happen, but I don't know. And then the electrical issue is an issue, but Ms. Griffin communicated to the maintenance person and not necessarily to Ms. Montgomery or anybody else. But that water tank, your client was aware of, or the hot water issue your client was aware of, it appears. And so.
About the hot water, if I may say something.
Okay.
I have a work order from Ms. Griffin that she put in on October 3rd.
Okay.
They don't have individual hot water tanks. The hot water tank is for the entire building.
Okay.
We had the hot water tank go out, not just for Ms. Griffin, it was for the entire building. That issue was resolved on the 4th of October, the next day. In her email, she said, hey, my hot water is out. I'll be home the next 3 days. So I really need the hot water fixed. And it was fixed within 24 hours. So it wasn't just Ms. Griffin's apartment. We had the hot water tank go out in the entire building. It was a part on the water as a thermocouple that went out. We got the part, got it put back on. The water was put back on the very next day. So I'm not sure, why she's saying it was a Longer than that, I was informed via work on the 3rd, it was repaired the very next day.
Okay, so was there a subsequent issue regarding the hot water?
Yeah, no, that, so my hot water went out, it was because they were working on the apartment underneath me. It was the tenant about to move in, and whatever they were doing in the basement, like underneath me. I guess
What month was that?
This was November, this is the month they were, so that's.
Okay.
Yeah, so, whatever, I'm not sure, but my mom, you know, she seen the guys working on the apartment, and she told them like, hey, I'm not sure what you guys are doing down there, but whatever you guys been doing, my daughter's hot water been out the last 2 weeks. That's when the man, I don't know what he did, he came straight on instantly, like he just came straight back on, but,
So it came back on after 2 weeks?
yeah, right after.
Okay, but did you send notice regarding that to?
Like to them, telling them, you know, that it was back on, no.
Did you tell them that it was out in November?
Oh, I called, I called.
Who did you talk to, do you recall?
I'm sorry, I can't say if it was her or the other lady, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
And then also, just to add, when I went to pay my $3,300 to the other lady in December, and I was just explaining to her, like, you know, this issue with me not having a window and, you know, the baby, and showing her the pictures, she said out of her own mouth that it was no reason that they were charging me full rent, not discounting, knowing that I'm running a dryer and opening the stove, so it's also raising my bill higher, and you know, I'm living with no window. She said that there's no reason that shouldn't have been discounted as far as on Poet's Place in. This is on her own mouth. I can't tell you the young lady's name, so I don't remember, but she told me this on her mouth when I came to see her. And she also said, like I told you when I asked, she said that as soon as I paid that money, that credit was gonna come off instantly. She said there's no reason the credit should not have came off instantly, so that I would be able to use.
Okay, well, on that note, Ms. Montgomery already testified as to why it didn't come off instantly, because there's a third party somehow that has to process that. So that's why it didn't. But at the end of the day, that lack of credit isn't why you received the late fee. So can I take a look at those? Abby, can you handle, or can you come in those, please?
Sorry, I tried to be as detailed as I could.
No, that's fine.
I could.
Okay, so they didn't put you behind in January, man, because you weren't assessed the late fee, and then you're claiming somebody didn't intentionally do something.
Yes, that was regarding once the 450, once I made that report, and like I get what you're saying as far as it has to be like written out and sent out, but the part that confuses me is how come right after I made a report to peak management, the credit gets cleared out the same day and my window gets fixed. Like it just was never, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like
but to allege on a review that somebody is intentionally not doing something, you don't know if somebody's intentionally not doing something or not, is my point.
Yes.
I understand that the other individual stated that it should be done immediately, but that person doesn't seem to be the manager. Ms. Montgomery's the manager, and she's testified that there's a process by which that has to be done, and that can't just be done on her end. So that's not, that isn't probably the most,
I understand, but I do have one more thing to add.
beneficial thing to put on there. Hold on, let me finish, please.
Okay.
Okay, but it doesn't appear though, even ma'am, that you paid even your half on Tuesday, January 16th.
That was
because you didn't. You have it all in a different account, right?
That's what I was trying to explain. With the Flex app, you can't use it unless that credit is clear. You can't use that app at all. They won't let you pay half. That's what I was trying to explain. It has to be clear in order for me to pay that half.
Okay, so did you communicate with Ms. Montgomery?
I told them in court, the last one court, I told them the way I would be able to keep up is by using Flex, because I know I have to pay all that money.
Please let me finish my question. Okay. Did you communicate with Ms. Montgomery that you were going to show late for January because the charges were still, the late fees were still showing on there and you hadn't yet received that credit?
When we talked in January, yes, when I was asking.
You spoke to Ms. Montgomery?
Yes, she talked on the phone when I asked about the Flex app. She said, first she told me it would be clear before like third or fourth, and then when I called the second time, I forgot what she said, but it was like a totally different answer. But I did call her, yes.
Okay, was there a conversation regarding that, Ms. Montgomery?
There was a conversation regarding that, Your Honor. What I explained to her was that I have to send the paperwork up to my home office. I don't have control over when that credit is coming off. The only thing I do is to send the paperwork up, and then that amount is credited. I told her she can feel free to pay everything but that credit, and then once the credit goes on, it was zero out of her account. She says, well, I was trying to pay with the Flex app, you're gonna make me late. And I said, Daisha, I can only send up, or Ms. Griffin, I can only send up the paperwork to be credited. You know, the reason why the late fee was put on was because the rent wasn't paid on time. There's no type of intent to do anything to Ms. Griffin. I'm sorry her work orders took this long. I don't like any of my residents to go without that. I'm literally doing the best I can with the staff that I have. And, you know, we got help, which is why all of these things were able to be resolved, is because our renovation team stopped their renovations and were able to come and help us with work orders. I still only have one technician. I have a second one that's starting tomorrow. But we're not intentionally doing anything to Ms. Griffin. I didn't know that was her mom until she told me on the last court date that it was her mom. I assumed it was her. But I've had contentious conversations with residents who are upset. I still abide by whatever the rules are. If my company tells me that on the 6th of the month, we charge $150 late fee, I charge $150 late fee on the 6th. I'm just following the rules as it's been stated today.
Okay. And I understand that, and I will also state that $150 a month for late fees is excessive.
I understand where you're coming from, Your Honor. Again, and that part I unfortunately don't have control of.
I understand that, I understand that. You don't draft the leases, I understand that. So, but ma'am, Ms. Griffin, also to tell a property manager that she's the reason that she messed everything up, that she refused to remove the balance, that's not accurate. And no disrespect, quite frankly, had you not been late to begin with, like that wouldn't have all happened like this, right? So to put that blame on somebody else isn't quite fair, okay? But I also think what's not quite fair is that you had to go that long with not having a window fixed and not having proper heating and other issues. And so council, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a conversation with Ms. Griffin and Ms. Montgomery to see if there's a resolution, unless you want this court to go ahead and issue its order.
Your Honor, during our last breakout room, Ms. Griffin didn't state that she wanted $450, additional $450 later. She didn't state that. She just kept saying she wanted rent reduced. I can't reduce her rent. If she had stated that last time, I would have been more than happy to go to my home office and see if they would agree to that. She never stated that. It just came into a contentious conversation.
Okay.
If she wants additional $450 a week waived, I do have authorization to go ahead and waive that. If that will resolve the case, as long as she pays her balance with the court costs, I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right, so the court's going to waive the late fees of $450. And what I want to happen is I want you to send in a work order regarding the electrical issue. That's the only issue remaining?
No, it's also the picture
The hole in
the
the-
dryer and the lint and stuff going everywhere. Cause
Okay.
when he went to fix my dryer, he didn't attach the piece back so that the lint goes down and just slides all over my apartment.
So,
And I don't have a lock on my mailbox. I haven't had one the whole time I lived there. So
Okay.
look, it's my
so you
mailbox.
need to send in a work order, send it in by tomorrow with all the issues that you have, okay? Send it in by tomorrow so that gives them an opportunity to have notice and to repair it or replace it or whatever they have to do, okay? In the future, ma'am, if you have, and there are statutes regarding this, if you have concerns with your living conditions regarding the hot water, electricity, if it's impacting your habitability, your heat, things of that nature, and you are choosing to withhold rent, you need to put that in writing to plaintiff. You also need to show proof that that money is in a separate account. Okay? That would then potentially alleviate a court action because there would have been communication regarding that. Okay? And parts of the statute would have been complied with. So the court's going to enter a judgment then. $2,295.75 plus court costs of $219.80 for a total of $3,215.55. Counsel, we can do one of two things. We can adjourn this for a week to make sure that payment was made. Well, let me clarify. The back rent, does that include the $450 in late fees?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Your Honor.
Okay, so let me back that up.
By my math, if I may,
Yes.
the amount of rent due and owing would be standing at $2,545.75. There are court costs and fees of $219.80, which brings us to a total of $2,765.55.
I'm confused. How is it more money now? Wait, I must have written something down wrong earlier. When you said the back rent was $2,295.75.
Okay. Hold on. Ty, I would like you to crunch those numbers again. Just crunch them, please.
Crunch.
Did it help?
Either way, I'm not getting the same math that you are, but okay. So $1,075 per month in rent for January, February, March is $3,225. Subtracting an $800 payment is $2,425. Correct?
That sounds correct, Your Honor, yeah.
DTE that are there. Your Honor, we require residents to have the electrical in their name, and then if we receive their bill, we charge them back for utility bills, for the electricity. So that's what's the other portion that's on here. I think that's where the total may be a little bit.
Okay, so how much is the DTE bill?
The DTE bill is for, it appears to be a 2-month period. It is $65.30 and $56.28.
What month? Oh, is that that's for February and March, I think? January was 200 and something.
It was December 16th through January 17th, and then January 18th to February 15th. What I tell residents all the time is that we received your DTE bill. If you believe you have DTE in your name, you can feel free to send me your bills front and back so I see the billing dates, and then we can go back to DTE so we can get a resolve. The first time I had that conversation with Ms. Griffin, she said that the gentleman in the DV case, he had the electricity in his name, so he may have taken it out.
Okay.
And I said, well, just get it in your name, pay the ones that you have, and you won't have any issues. So
Okay.
it looks like we still got bills for her. So she does have those DT bills for those dates.
Okay.
She's welcome to submit them to me.
Are those, is it currently in your name?
DT, I believe it's Poet's
I'm sorry?
I believe it's in Poet's place name.
Okay, are you taking steps to put it in your name?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, all right, but they're not, it's not currently in your name, so these are valid charges.
Whatever they're saying, yeah, but like I said, the bill is that high due to me running the stove, me running the dryer all day. Like I had to go through a lot of different things to keep the house warm. That's what I'm saying, my bill is ridiculous. The DT bill is so
Right,
high.
but I thought that in this exhibit, it said it was 200 something from January, but this is showing that it was 5628 in January. Is that the hot water, or is it hot water and,
The heat and water is included, Your Honor.
Okay.
She just has to pay electricity.
oh, that's electricity. Okay,
January, my bill was 2 something. In February, I got.
okay, how do you know that it was 2 something? Because this
I
is
have
showing,
a picture on it. It's upstairs.
I remember
can show
seeing
you
it.
to it.
okay,
It says like 2
Oh,
something.
hold
This
on.
other one is 65.
January, okay, just a moment. January 1st of 2024, it's showing 274.17.
Right.
Do you show that, Ms. Montgomery?
No, I've never received any bills from Ms. Griffin. I told her if she thought that it was an error, she could send it to me. I've never received any bills from Ms. Griffin stating that she had bills in her name.
No, I understand that. This is showing, it's showing on the app for your apartment. It's showing January 1st, 2024, 274.17. The 6530 and the 5628 are on here. 6530 showing February 14th, 5628 shows it was put out on February 22nd. So those seem to be the December and the January bills that are showing on there. But it's also showing something for 274.17.
I never received any bills for Ms. Griffin for that amount. That's why the only thing that she just charged for those 2 bills that are on her account. So we never charged her back for the 200 and whatever amount that you're saying. We never charged her back for that.
So,
Is she saying she received the bill in that amount?
It's on the website. That's
No, she's not saying she
charged.
received the bill. No, she's saying it's on here as a charge.
We never charged her back for that. So if my home office received it, they must have just paid it. The only time they charge is what is on them, which is the 2 bills that we charge her
Okay.
back for.
So do you know why it would be showing on here, which is Exhibit D, which seems to be a listing of her charges?
I just saw that today, Your Honor, briefly in the hallway. This is the first time I'm hearing of it, which was out in the hallway. We didn't receive anything prior to this date for me to review that.
Okay, so I'm going to order this. In the event there's a $274.17 DTE bill that is due and owing for heat or electricity for Ms. Griffin, that she will not have to pay that based upon the window.
We never charged her for it, so that's
Okay,
fine.
and so based upon that, that's also one of the reasons why this court's ordering that. So ma'am, in the event, if you go back through and somehow your ledger is showing that that was charged to you,
It is charged. That's what I'm trying to explain. That's a part of the whole balance. That is charged.
but that's not showing on what you're showing. Ms. Griffin, go take a look at that right there, please.
I do what you're saying, man, but when I paid the $80 that some of that too said, like, I'm telling you, I did pay on that.
Okay, but what I'd like to see though is show me, I need to see on there where it's showing that the $274.17 was charged on your account.
I am not seeing it. I don't see that. It says 150, it says minus 450, 1075. I don't see it, but you can see on my end, it's on my account.
I'm not disputing it says that it's owed on there. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
What
but
Ms.
it's not on here.
What Ms. Montgomery is saying is that it doesn't appear to be on your ledger that's showing your current balance.
Mhm.
So when did you last pull this part up?
That was pulled up when I went to submit that to the court last Monday, so.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
that's still popping up on my account.
all right, so then I need you to work together to see why that's still showing on there and for that to be removed.
Your Honor, but she's saying she doesn't have DT in her name, but it's been in our name. So that means that we would have received that bill, and that's why we never charged her back for it.
Right, but it's showing on her app, or whatever that is, it's showing on her app as of last Monday that that's a charge on her balance.
It's on her apartment, but the electricity is in our name because she doesn't have it in her
Okay,
name.
right, so my question is, how is it on her apartment charge if it's not on there?
Because we didn't charge her back for it.
Okay, but how is it on her apartment charge?
On the DTE, it's because that was the bill for that particular apartment.
Okay,
But
so,
we didn't charge her back for that amount.
okay, so is that going to come off at some point, or does that just stay on there with all the charges, like whatever DTE charges just shows on there?
Well, DTE just shows the charges on their account. All it's gonna do is show the charges. We make the payments on any accounts that are still shown in our
Okay.
name. Any accounts that we show should be in a resident's name, we'll charge them back. My company may have decided not to charge her back that $237, they
Okay.
only charge her back the other two.
All right, so here's what the court's order is going to state. $2,619.80 to be paid. You have that in your account already, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to order that that's to be paid by tomorrow. And that you also are to submit in writing any work orders by tomorrow.
You want me to do it through the app, the Peak app, or you want me to do a private email?
However it's supposed to be done.
Okay.
Online would be preferred because then she's entering the information.
The app, okay, okay, via the app, okay. And then, you can go ahead and look at your balance, once you pay that balance, it should show zero. If it shows zero, then it's clear that $274.17 doesn't appear to be applied. The court's also going to order that defendant is not responsible for that $274.17 payment. In the event somebody's behind in applying bills or what have you, and then goes on to the next one, she's not responsible for that. And that will be that. So, in an effort to resolve this, but not to have a judgment entered against Ms. Griffin.
I apologize. One more thing, please. It's just a question. It's a question. It's not anything that serious. I was just gonna say, so my lease ends March 31st, and according to the lease terms, it said this lease begins 4 o'clock April 4th, 2023. Release ends March 3rd, 31st, 2024. It said that you do not vacate the apartment, home, and return keys to lease and offer by 11:59 p.m. Release will automatically renew from month to month. I'm just trying to make sure that this is going to be accurate, and I'm not going to get any mail saying I have to move out because I didn't let them know I wanted to move because I'm not planning on moving. So I'm trying to find out, do they have plans on still putting me out?
Well, okay, that's something you have to communicate with them. If you haven't received anything by now, I would think that probably not, but.
Just making sure.
But that's something you have to communicate with them. That's not something the court, has anything, has any jurisdiction over regarding that. Okay? All right, so we'll see everybody back. That's on Zoom, on Tuesday. City of Riverview versus Shadid Howard Randolph, 24196. And appearance, counsel?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Neil Lavoy here on behalf of Shadid Howard Randolph, P number is 36827.
And Mr. Howard Randolph, your name for the record, please. Is he not in there? Is he not there, Terry? What? Mr. Carmen, your appearance for the record, please.
Afternoon, Your Honor. Michael A. Carmen, P73824 on behalf of the prosecution.
Okay, and Mr. Howard Randolph, your name for the record, please.
Howard Randolph.
All right, and so today's the date scheduled for the pre-trial in this matter. Mr. Howard Randolph is in custody in the Wyandotte jail. And for points of clarification, Mr. Howard Randolph has a state matter that there is a no bond on, and the Wayne County Jail released Mr. Howard Randolph in error.
I don't have a
That is
bond.
why.
I served my bond in jail, the 30-day sentence that you gave me.
Sir, please don't interrupt me. The 30-day sentence was as a result of your bond violation hearing. That was the sentence from your hearing. The court did not amend the bond. The court had remanded you and revoked bond on that matter. For whatever reason, Wayne County Jail released you, and they should not have released you. There was no bond on that case. So that is why you are now back in custody, because Wayne County Jail should not have released you.
I had a release date. You sentenced me to 30 days. I had a release date. And I actually paid my bond on this case from behind bars. So I'm being held on a case that I'm not even here for. I'm not even here for that case. That I don't have a bond because I served 30 days in jail. So this is double jeopardy. Literally the definition of double jeopardy. So you're going to reprocess me for a charge that I already served my time on. But once you realize that I was not in custody and that you probably had made an error in your paperwork or your judgment when it comes to when you revoke someone's bond, I served my time for that bond. So that's why I have a zero balance bond because I don't have a bond. We just had the same kind of case law last year with the same case, and I got out and came to trial from the house because I served my time for that bond. This is literally the definition of double jeopardy.
Okay, sir, please stop. Please stop. Because you have a few things incorrect. First of all, this court, on your state charge with the domestic violence matter, this court revoked your bond and set a bond violation hearing. There was a hearing done on the bond violation. The court sentenced you on the bond violation hearing. The court did not reinstate any bond on your domestic violence matter. So while you served the 30 days as a result of your violation of bond, the court did not amend your bond. So therefore, please stop interrupting. I allowed you to finish. Let me finish. Therefore, Wayne County Jail should not have released you. There is a no bond on that matter. You should not have been released. So there was not an error in any paperwork on this court. There is confirmation that Wayne County Jail released you in error. Therefore, there was communication between the Wyandotte Police Department, the Riverview Police Department, the Wayne County Sheriff, and that is why you're back in custody. So with that is that. That's all I'm saying on that matter. Now we have this Riverview matter
Are we
regarding
doing
the
the domestic
interfering with
violence
the
matter,
public
or are we
safety
doing
officer,
this matter?
which I'm just muting you right now because you're interfering with my record now. So, as to the pretrial in this matter, Mr. DeBloy, what's going on?
Yes, I've had a chance to discuss this with Mr. Carmen. We'd like an adjournment. There was an issue. We ordered discovery in this matter. There was a mistake. The records from the Riverview Police Department, they are forwarding the balance of the materials. I don't have those yet. And we would ask for, I think we're looking for 30-day adjournment. I'm also hampered by a few things. Number one is Mr. Shadid has been in, essentially he's been in custody. So we've had some brief phone conversations. I think it's the first face-to-face that we've had. And so, you know, analyzing his case, I need the discovery first of all to go over it with him and provide it to him. That's number one. Number two, some issues came up today. I had a conversation with Mr. Rao. He is apparently very unsatisfied with the legal services that are provided. I'm providing him up till this point, and he has expressed the opinion that I am a racist. And I'm pointing this out for the record that this may inhibit my ability to go forward representing him. He may be moving. I don't know what his intention is. I know he has paid counsel on another one of his cases. I want to make the record clear that if he's going to ask for other counsel sooner rather than later would be appropriate.
Okay, so two things. When did you last have a phone conversation with Mr. Howard Randolph?
I spoke to Mr. Howard Randolph, let me think. I believe he called my office. I spoke to him on Friday.
Okay. And he was out of custody?
No, he was calling from jail. He advised me that he expected to be free this morning, that they were supposed to release him Sunday, and that he was going to be late. So he advised me that he wanted me to tell you to hold his case because he was going to be here. And in fact, he did appear here this morning, so he was correct up to that point. So
okay,
that was my understanding. He expected to be released Monday morning today and show up here. And again, here he is.
Okay, well, that's another area of concern because the court has restricted Mr. Howard Randolph's communication to be only face-to-face through the Wayne County Jail and not through any communication devices based upon the inability to follow court orders regarding bond.
For the record, I was not aware of that restriction, Your Honor.
I understand. Neither was Wayne Jail when he, after the his most recent matter, when he was in the back, requested to use a phone. So I don't know what the issue is with that condition being followed. Mr. Howard Randolph.
Yeah, so I'm being.
The last time, just a moment, please. The last time that you were in court in March before
21st, March 21st, for another matter, not this matter. This is an obstruction charge matter.
Sir, please stop interrupting me because that's not where I was going. Stop interrupting me. When you were in this court on February 26th, Mr. DeBloy had represented you in that matter. And at that time, you had asked for Mr. DeBloy to continue representing you because you were satisfied with his representation. He could not continue to represent you because he was not going to be present on the next court date that you were going to have on your other matter. So therefore, we had appointed another attorney. So now you're telling Mr. DeBloy that you're not satisfied with his services.
When I was satisfied with his services, I just was 10 minutes into meeting this man. He literally just told me that he's working for the prosecuting attorney, basically. And he told me that what y'all doing is double jeopardy. He said that I asked him from an attorney to client, is this double jeopardy? And he said, absolutely, it's double jeopardy. And that basically, what if he is working for the prosecuting defense? This is exactly what he said. So, I mean, came out the words of his mouth, and there's other people back there in the bullpen holding cell with me that heard him say it. He's basically.
So you're telling me that you're telling me that Mr. DeBloy told you he's working for the prosecutor?
and that what you're doing is double jeopardy. I served my time on a bond violation, so you basically sentencing me again. You can't amend a bond that I don't have. I don't have a bond for that anymore. I just served my time for it. But you think I'm just talking crazy?
Sir, let me be very clear. If I recall correctly, your matter on that has not been resolved.
Right. But we're not here for that correctly, right?
Sir, stop, please. Your matter on that is not resolved. Therefore, there's still a bond that this court has to make sure is followed. The court had previously revoked your bond on that matter and did not reinstate it. So that is why you should not have been released from Wayne County Jail custody. So that is that issue. We're not addressing it again. You can bring that up at your next court date. You can have Mr. Perlman file a motion, whatever it may be. But we're only talking about this case right now. That's it. We're not addressing double jeopardy that you're alleging. We're not addressing your bond. We're not addressing your other court date. That's it. We're not addressing that. We're only addressing this matter with the City of Riverview charge of interfering with the public safety officer. And so you're telling this court that you're no longer satisfied with Mr. DuBois' services. Is that what you're telling this court?
It's what I'm telling this court. He's not representing me.
And since you were able to retain an attorney on your other matter, are you planning on retaining an attorney in this matter?
Only time to tell that. I can't say that at the exact moment. Since I'm being
at this point, I believe this is attorney number 5 or 6 that you have now exhausted through discourse on my DC. I'm sorry?
Not on this case. I haven't had 5 attorneys on this case, this obstruction case. He's the first attorney. So I had 5 attorneys on this case or in general in your courtroom.
Well, Mr. Howard Randolph, if you would stop interrupting me, I would get to that point. You have had a number of cases through this court. You can't have Mr. Goldpaw as your attorney, Mr. Serrano, Mr. Shemke, Mr. Westmoreland, and now Mr. DuBois. I think that's all of them.
If it was more diverse, it probably wouldn't have that problem, as a lot of people of my color that come through this court have.
Sir, the attorneys that this court has that have applied to be attorneys on our court-appointed attorney list are the ones I've named. And there's 2 other individuals, Mr. Holmberg and Miss Crystal Mardina. Miss Crystal Medina. So, what I'm going to do, sir, is I'm going to let our regional office know that you would like a different attorney that's not on our list. And we'll see who they appoint you. It's not appointed by this court. Let me just tell you that. It is not, they're not attorneys that are appointed by this court. They're appointed by a regional office.
And I posted a bond for this case that he keep acting like he doesn't see. He said there's no, but I have bond receipts digitally. My mom has bond receipts of this case. This bond was posted for this case a few days ago. So with that being said, I'm wondering how can you address a charge that I served a sentence on? And I just got out, so that's why I didn't have a bond. My people had already checked with the Wayne County yesterday. They did a whole international lien on me. If there were any mishaps on their end, they would have seen that. They don't just let people out of jail. When you serve your time, you get let out. And that's what exactly happened. And now you're trying to relock me up for something that you didn't understand in your law book or whatever. But I know Wayne County Jail is not going to take the fall for a mess up that came out of 27th District Court because you want to bend the rules and go around my constitutional rights like you're doing.
Sir, this court is not bending any rules. This court is not taking the fall for the Wayne County Jail inadvertently releasing somebody that had a bond revoked on their domestic violence case. So that is why you are in custody, because you should not have been released. It was brought to the attention, therefore, you are back in custody. Wayne County Jail is on their way to pick you up, sir, because they acknowledged that they inadvertently released you and they should not have. So the court's going to adjourn this matter, not 30 days, that's too long. The court's going to adjourn this matter to April 8th
I want a jury trial. I don't want a bench trial. I want a jury trial.
9:30 a.m. You can have any type of trial you request, sir. Adjourn to April 8th at 9:30 a.m. for discovery, additional discovery, and for MIDC regional office to assign attorney to defendant. So, Mr. DeBoy, any discovery that you've received, once the new attorney has been assigned, the attorney will have to reach out to you, or you can reach out to the attorney, whichever it may be, to exchange any discovery that you currently have. So the new attorney can have all the discovery, and we don't have to adjourn any further for discovery issues. Again, Mr. Howard Randolph, I'd ask you to stop interrupting the record.
I want a copy of my discovery.
You will have a copy of your discovery when you meet with your new attorney, sir, which will be at the Wayne County Jail. Anything else, counsel?
No, I have nothing further.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Carmen?
Nothing posted for this case. The bond that I got posted for this case.
Okay, again, Mr. Howard Randolph, I was not done, and you're continuing to interrupt. Your bond on this case, I believe you did post a bond on this case. However, you're in custody on the other case that the bond was revoked. So that doesn't mean personal bond, it means revoked bond. So we'll see you back on April 8th at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Off the record.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is an absolute joke. He needs an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Reed, we're going to start bringing people in person. He's going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. And trust me, out of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.